The pristine halls of the Helios Research Station hummed with an energy that Maya Patel had never experienced on Earth. The station's transparent walls revealed the swirling purple nebula beyond, a constant reminder that she was now part of humanity's greatest journey into the cosmos. As she walked toward the central laboratory, her footsteps echoed against the polished floor, drawing curious glances from her alien colleagues. Maya was the first human ever selected for the station's prestigious Advanced Energy Research Division. The position had been opened to humans as a diplomatic gesture, though few believed any human could match the intellectual capabilities of the station's regular staff. The Arctians, with their crystalline bodies and quantum computing minds, could process complex calculations in seconds. The Valorians, with their ability to perceive multiple dimensions, understood spatial relationships in ways humans could barely comprehend. Yet here she was, her simple human brain and 5 basic senses, ready to work alongside the galaxy's finest minds. Director Kylax, a towering Arctian whose crystalline form shimmered with internal light, waited for her at the laboratory entrance. His faceted eyes studied her with an intensity that made Maya straighten her shoulders. "Engineer Patel," he said, his translated voice carrying a hint of skepticism. "Your credentials are interesting. Though I must admit, I'm uncertain how your experience with Earth's primitive fission reactors will translate to our antimatter containment systems." Maya met his gaze steadily. "Director, human history is filled with examples of solving complex problems with limited resources. Sometimes, the simplest solution is the most elegant." A slight ripple passed through Kylax's crystalline form, the Arctian equivalent of a dismissive laugh. "You'll find, Engineer Patel, that there is nothing simple about the technologies we work with here." The laboratory doors slid open, revealing a vast chamber dominated by a massive containment sphere. Within it, streams of antimatter danced in complex patterns, controlled by fields that Maya's human eyes couldn't even perceive. Around the sphere, various alien scientists worked at stations that seemed to defy conventional physics. "Your station," Kylax indicated the simple terminal near the sphere's monitoring systems. "We've adapted it to accommodate your limitations." Maya nodded, ignoring the condescension in his tone. She had faced similar attitudes throughout her career, first as a woman in engineering, then as a human in interstellar science. She'd learned that actions spoke louder than words. She had just begun familiarizing herself with the systems when the first alarm sounded. A subtle vibration ran through the station, almost imperceptible but somehow wrong. Maya's eyes snapped to the containment sphere, where the antimatter streams had begun to fluctuate in an unusual pattern. The Arctian and Valorian scientists barely seemed to notice, their advanced senses likely telling them there was nothing to worry about. But Maya's years of experience with Earth's temperamental reactors had taught her to trust her instincts. Something was wrong. She pulled up the system diagnostics on her terminal, scanning through data streams that had been translated into human-readable format. There, buried in the basics of the containment field's power distribution, she spotted it. A tiny fluctuation that her colleagues' more advanced instruments might have overlooked as insignificant. "Director Kylax," she called out, her voice cutting through the ambient hum of the laboratory. "I'm detecting an anomaly in the containment field's power distribution." Kylax turned, that same dismissive ripple passing through his form. "Our systems are operating within normal parameters, Engineer." "Director," she said, her voice calm despite the chaos erupting around them. "I think I know what's happening. And more importantly, I think I know how to stop it." The containment sphere pulsed with an intensity that made Maya's eyes water. Around her, the alien scientists worked frantically at their stations, their advanced technologies and enhanced senses seemingly useless against the cascading failure. The air crackled with energy as emergency containment fields struggled to hold back the growing instability. "Your solution, Engineer Patel." Director Kylax's crystalline form flickered with barely contained agitation. "Explain quickly." Maya's fingers flew across her terminal, pulling up simplified diagrams of the power distribution network. "The system is too smart for its own good," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Every backup system is following the same protocols, creating a feedback loop that's actually amplifying the initial problem." A Valorian scientist, their multi-dimensional form shifting with anxiety, interjected, "Our systems are designed to adapt and learn. They cannot be too smart." "That's exactly the problem," Maya insisted. "Look at the pattern." She highlighted a section of the power distribution grid. "Your systems are so advanced that they're anticipating problems before they happen and implementing solutions. But in this case, those solutions are creating new problems faster than the system can adapt." The containment sphere flickered again, and a new alarm joined the cacophony. The antimatter streams within were beginning to break down, their carefully controlled patterns dissolving into chaos. "We need to do something that the system won't expect," Maya continued. "Something so basic, so fundamental, that it won't trigger the predictive protocols." Director Kylax's faceted eyes narrowed. "What exactly are you proposing?" "A manual override," Maya said. "We need to temporarily disable the smart systems and return to basic containment protocols, the kind we used on Earth when we first started working with plasma containment." The suggestion sent a wave of murmurs through the alien scientists. The idea of reverting to such primitive technology seemed to horrify them. "Impossible," Kylax declared. "The energy levels we're dealing with are exactly why this will work." Maya cut in, earning shocked looks from her colleagues. "Your advanced systems are trying to find perfect solutions. We don't need perfect. We need functional." Another violent pulse from the sphere punctuated her words. Warning messages flashed across every screen in the laboratory, indicating that the containment field was approaching critical failure. "The antimatter containment will collapse in less than 10 minutes, a Valorian announced, their multiple dimensional appendages writhing in distress. Maya turned to Kylax. "Director, I know this goes against everything you believe about advanced technology, but right now those beliefs might cost us the station." "Let me try." The Arxian director stood motionless, internal lights pulsing as he processed the situation. Around them, the emergency containment field strengthened, their energy signature making Maya's hair stand on end. "The human numerical processing speed is infinitely inferior to our own," Kylax stated. "You cannot possibly calculate the necessary adjustments quickly enough." "I don't need to calculate everything," Maya replied. "I just need to understand the fundamental principles. Sometimes, humans' greatest strength is knowing when to stop overthinking and start doing." Another alarm blared, this one deeper and more ominous than the others. The sphere's outer shell began to show visible signs of stress, microscopic fractures appearing in its previously flawless surface. 7 minutes to containment failure, the Valorian announced. Kylax's crystalline form pulsed once, decisively. "Proceed, Engineer Puddle. But understand that if you are wrong, the antimatter reaction will destroy not just this laboratory, but the entire station." Maya was already moving, her fingers dancing across her terminal with practiced precision. "I need direct access to the containment field controls. And I need everyone else to stop trying to fix this. Your systems are only making it worse." The director issued commands in his native language, and the other scientists reluctantly stepped back from their stations. Maya felt the weight of their attention, their doubt, their fear. But she pushed it all aside, focusing on the task at hand. "Disabling smart systems," she announced. "Initiating basic containment protocols." The sphere's complex energy patterns immediately began to shift, the beautiful but dangerous dance of antimatter streams simplifying into more basic formations. Warning messages cascaded across every screen as the advanced systems protested their deactivation. 5 minutes to containment failure, the Valorian called out. Maya's hands were steadied as she implemented the next phase of her plan, redirecting power to primary containment only. No predictive algorithms, no adaptive responses. She looked up at the sphere, watching as the antimatter streams began to stabilize. Sometimes the best solution is to stop fighting against chaos and start working with it. The fractures in the sphere's surface stopped spreading, but the existing damage remained critical. Maya could feel the tension in the room, the unspoken question of whether her primitive solution would be enough to prevent catastrophe. 3 minutes. Came the update, the Valorian's voice tight with strain. Maya took a deep breath, her mind racing through years of experience with Earth's temperamental reactors. One final step remained, but it was also the riskiest. She would have to manually adjust the containment field's frequency to match the antimatter's natural resonance, something the alien systems did automatically but which she would have to do by feel. "Director," she said, not taking her eyes off the readings, "I need you to trust me for the next 3 minutes. What I'm about to do will look wrong to every piece of advanced technology on this station, but it's our only chance." The laboratory had fallen into an eerie silence, broken only by the pulsing hum of the failing containment sphere. Maya's fingers hovered over her terminal's controls as she watched the antimatter streams writhe within their deteriorating prison. Everything hinged on timing now, timing and instinct. 2 minutes to containment failure, the Valorian announced, their multi-dimensional form rippling with tension. "What I'm about to do," Maya explained, her voice steady despite the pressure, "is synchronize the containment field with the antimatter's natural resonance frequency. But I'll be doing it manually, without computational assistance." A shocked murmur ran through the assembled scientists. Director Galactic's crystalline form pulsed with alarm. "That's suicide. The calculations alone would take." "This isn't about calculations," Maya cut in, her eyes fixed on the sphere. "It's about rhythm, about pattern recognition. Something humans have evolved to do over millions of years of survival." She began adjusting the field frequency, making tiny changes based on how the antimatter streams responded. It was like tuning an instrument, finding harmony in chaos. The alien scientists watched in horrified fascination as she worked without the aid of their advanced sensors and predictive models. 1 minute 30 seconds. Came the update. The antimatter streams began to pulse in response to Maya's adjustments. Each change in the containment field created ripples of reaction, a dance of energy that she could almost feel rather than see. She remembered learning to ride a bicycle as a child. The weight balance came not from calculating angles and forces, but from letting her body learn the rhythm of motion. "The containment field is becoming increasingly unstable," one of the Arxian scientists reported, their crystalline form flickering with distress. "By all our models, it should have collapsed already." "Your models don't account for human intuition," Maya replied, still focused on her work. "Sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to stop thinking like a computer and start thinking like a living being." The sphere pulsed again, but this time the pattern was different. The antimatter streams were beginning to synchronize with Maya's adjustments, finding a natural harmony that the advanced systems had been too rigid to discover. 1 minute. The Valorian called out. Director Killax moved closer to Maya's station, his faceted eyes studying her work with growing interest. "The energy patterns, they're stabilizing, but in a way our systems never predicted." Maya nodded, her hands moving with deliberate precision. "Your technology tries to force order onto chaos. Sometimes you need to work with the chaos, let it find its own balance." The fractures in the sphere's surface began to seal themselves as the containment field's new frequency reinforced the material's natural molecular bonds. The warning alarms began to quiet, one by one, as the immediate danger passed. 30 seconds, the Valorian announced, though their tone had changed from fear to amazement. Maya made one final adjustment, and the antimatter streams settled into a stable rhythmic pattern. The sphere's surface gleamed once more, the fractures completely healed. Around the laboratory, screens began showing green status indicators as the crisis resolved itself. "Containment field stabilized," Maya announced, finally allowing herself to breathe normally. "The system is now operating at a more efficient level than before the crisis." The laboratory erupted in a chorus of excited chatter as the alien scientists rushed to analyze what had happened. Director Killax remained by Maya's station, his crystalline form pulsing with what she had learned to recognize as deep thought. "You took an incalculable risk," he said finally. "By all our understanding, what you did should have been impossible." Maya stood up from her station, feeling the exhaustion of the past few hours settling in. "That's the thing about humans, Director. We have a habit of doing the impossible when we stop letting our limitations define us." The implications of this. Kylax's form shimmered with excitement. "The way you synchronized with the energy patterns without computational assistance, it suggests possibilities we never considered." "Sometimes the most advanced solution isn't the best one," Maya replied. "Humans learned that lesson early in our development. We couldn't outrun our predators, so we learned to track them. We couldn't survive extreme temperatures, so we learned to control fire. We turned our limitations into catalysts for innovation." The director's faceted eyes studied her with new respect. Perhaps we have been too quick to dismiss human capabilities. Your species' ability to adapt, to find unconventional solutions, it is a form of advancement we had not recognized." Maya smiled, looking around at the laboratory that had so recently been on the brink of destruction. The other scientists were already beginning to incorporate her manual frequency adjustments into their models, merging human intuition with alien technology. "This is just the beginning," she said. "Imagine what we could accomplish if we stopped trying to prove who's more advanced and started learning from each other instead." In the days following the containment crisis, the Helios research station hummed with a new kind of energy. Maya found herself at the center of an unprecedented collaboration between human and alien scientists. The laboratory that had once been modified to accommodate her limitations was now a hub of innovation, where different species learned from each other. "Your manual harmonization technique has implications beyond antimatter containment," Director Killax explained as they walked through the station's main research corridor. "We've begun applying similar principles to other systems, with remarkable results." Maya watched as a group of Thalorian scientists worked alongside Arxian researchers, their different perceptions of reality combining to solve problems in ways neither species had considered before. "It's not just about the technique," she said. "It's about being willing to question our assumptions about what's possible." They entered a new section of the laboratory where the containment sphere now stood, its surface gleaming with a perfect harmony of energy patterns. But it wasn't the same system she had saved days ago. The aliens had integrated her intuitive approach with their advanced technology, creating something entirely new. "We've created a hybrid control system," a young Arxian scientist named Zex explained, their crystalline form glowing with enthusiasm. "It combines our computational precision with what we're calling human pattern recognition protocols." Maya smiled at the formal name they'd given to what was essentially human intuition. "How is it performing?" "Efficiency has increased by 47%, Zex reported. "More importantly, the system now adapts to irregularities in ways our previous protocols never could. It's elegant." The word choice wasn't lost on Maya. Elegance had always been associated with the advanced alien technologies, not with human solutions. But now they were beginning to see that true elegance could come from simplicity as much as complexity. "We've also begun incorporating human cognitive patterns into our training programs," Director Killax added. "Your species' ability to make intuitive leaps, to see connections that pure logic might miss, it's a valuable complement to our traditional approaches." They moved to a holographic display where multiple experiments were being monitored simultaneously. Maya noticed that each control station now featured both advanced alien interfaces and simplified human-style controls. The integration was seamless, allowing each species to work in their own way while contributing to the whole. "There's something else," Kylax said, his tone becoming more serious. "The Council of Advanced Species has taken notice of what happened here. They're reconsidering their position on human participation in advanced research projects." Maya's heart skipped a beat. The Council's dismissal of human capabilities had been a major barrier to Earth's integration into the galactic scientific community. What kind of reconsideration? They're proposing a new initiative. Kylax explained, his crystalline form pulsing with what Maya had learned to recognize as excitement. A series of joint research projects that would pair human scientists with teams from advanced species, not as subordinates, but as equal partners. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just about one human engineer proving herself in a crisis. It was about fundamentally changing how different species could work together, each contributing their unique strengths to push the boundaries of science. "There's more," Zex interjected, practically vibrating with enthusiasm. "We've been analyzing the data from the containment crisis, and we've discovered something fascinating. The way you harmonized with the antimatter streams, it shouldn't have been possible with human neural processing speeds. But you did it anyway." "What are you saying?" Maya asked, though she had a feeling she knew where this was going. "We think," Director Kellex said carefully, "that there may be aspects of human consciousness that our advanced sensors cannot detect. Capabilities we never noticed because we were too focused on measuring everything in terms of computational power and technological advancement." Maya thought about all the things that made humans unique: their creativity, their adaptability, their ability to find patterns in chaos and meaning in randomness. "Maybe advancement isn't always about having the most sophisticated technology," she suggested. "Sometimes it's about having the wisdom to know when to use it and when to trust in more organic solutions." The director's faceted eyes studied her thoughtfully. "Which raises an interesting question, Engineer Puddle. What else might humans be capable of that we've never thought to measure?" Before Maya could respond, an alert sounded from one of the monitoring stations. Not an alarm this time, but a notification. One of their joint experiments had produced unexpected results. Results that neither human nor alien science could fully explain. "Well," Maya said, a smile playing at her lips as she moved toward the station, "I guess we're about to find out." The unexpected experimental results had drawn a crowd to the laboratory. Scientists of various species gathered around the monitoring station, their differences momentarily forgotten in the face of a genuine scientific mystery. Maya stood at the center, her eyes moving between the data streams and the actual experiment, a seemingly simple test of quantum entanglement that had produced impossibly complex results. "The patterns," she muttered, more to herself than the others. "They're similar to what we saw in the antimatter containment field, but different." Director Kylax's crystalline form shifted with interest. "Different how?" "It's like..." Maya searched for the right words. "Like they're responding to something we can't see. Not just quantum fluctuations, but intention." A Valorian scientist named Trell moved closer, their multi-dimensional form rippling with curiosity. "Are you suggesting that consciousness itself might be influencing the quantum state?" "Not just consciousness," Maya said slowly, watching as the patterns shifted again. "Human consciousness specifically. Look at the timestamps. The anomalies only appear when human researchers are actively observing the experiment." The implications sent a wave of excited murmurs through the assembled scientists. Director Kylax's faceted eyes pulsed with intense light. "If you're correct, this would revolutionize our understanding of consciousness and its role in the physical universe." Maya nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. "All this time, you've been measuring human capabilities in terms of computational speed, physical strength, technological advancement. But what if our real strength lies in something you can't measure? Something that exists in the space between quantifiable metrics?" "The way you harmonized with the antimatter streams," Zex interjected, their crystalline form practically glowing with excitement. "It wasn't just intuition or pattern recognition. You were somehow connecting with the energy itself, a connection that our most advanced sensors couldn't detect." Kylax added thoughtfully, "Because we never thought to look for it." Maya turned to face the assembled scientists, seeing not the doubt and skepticism that had greeted her arrival, but genuine curiosity and respect. "Maybe that's been humanity's gift all along," she said. "Not our technology or our physical capabilities, but our ability to bridge gaps, between chaos and order, between intuition and logic, between different ways of thinking and being. The director's form pulsed with what Maya had learned to recognize as deep satisfaction. The Council of Advanced Species will be very interested in these findings. But more importantly, I believe we are witnessing the beginning of a new era in galactic science. An era where advancement isn't measured by a single standard. Trell added, their multiple-dimensional appendages weaving patterns of agreement, but by our ability to combine different perspectives and abilities. Maya smiled, remembering her first day on the station, how alien and out of place she had felt. Now she understood that being different wasn't a weakness. It was precisely what made her valuable. So what's our next step? The Council has already approved the expansion of the Human Integration Program, Kylax announced. But I believe we can go further. I'm proposing the establishment of a new research division, one specifically dedicated to exploring the intersection between human intuitive capabilities and advanced alien technologies. And they approved this. Maya asked, surprised by how quickly things were moving. The director's form shimmered with what might have been amusement. Engineer Patel, you saved this station by doing something our most advanced systems deemed impossible. You've discovered aspects of quantum mechanics that our sensors couldn't detect. At this point, I believe the Council is more afraid of what they might miss by not working with humans. Around them, the laboratory hummed with energy, not just from the advanced technology, but from the excitement of discovery, the thrill of breaking new ground. The quantum experiment continued to produce its mysterious results, a testament to how much they still had to learn from each other. You know, Maya said, looking around at her alien colleagues who had become friends, when I first arrived here, I thought I had to prove that humans were as advanced as other species. Now I realize that wasn't the point at all. Oh, Kylax prompted. What was the point? That true advancement doesn't come from any one species being superior, she replied. It comes from recognizing that different isn't inferior. It's essential. Every perspective, every capability, every way of thinking adds something unique to the whole. The director's crystalline form pulsed with approval. The very advanced observation, Engineer Patel. Maya laughed. Maybe we need a new definition of advanced. As if in response, the quantum experiment pulsed with another burst of unexplainable data, promising new mysteries to solve and new boundaries to push. Maya looked at the readings, already seeing patterns forming in her mind, while around her, her alien colleagues brought their own unique perspectives to bear on the puzzle. This was the future, not one species proving their superiority over others, but all of them working together, each contributing their own piece to the greater whole. And as Maya prepared to dive into this new mystery with her team, she knew that they were just beginning to scratch the surface of what was possible. The end.